mg downwards, kv downwards. Minus kv into dt, kv by m, and what is acceleration? Acceleration will be equal to g plus kv by m, but it is in downward direction along minus j cap. I can write acceleration as dv by dt. It is minus g minus kv by m. What is dv? dv will become minus g into dt integral minus kv by m into dt integral u to 0. And here
Sir, we have to find V now, sir.
we have to find v. So there was one question, I'm not remembering exact wording. Let us analyze the situation. I'm just framing some equations and I will tell you what question we could ask, in which one question we have already done, no, in which it is very difficult and we have to do the integration. But I'm trying to frame a question in which it will be easy, even though we have to do the integration, but integration will be very simple. Let me check what wording we can provide to the question. For example, let's say we are doing like this. Then what we get it as u 0 minus u is equal to minus g 0 to time of ascent, 0 to time of ascent is equal to minus g into ta. Now v is variable here. V is variable. I cannot integrate. But if I write minus k by m into v dt, what it becomes? It becomes total height attained, k into h by m, right or not? Minus g into time of ascent is equal to minus u. What I want, why I am discussing all this? Just to tell you, see how beautifully we can get time of ascent directly in terms of height. If height is given to us, assuming height is given for the timing, I'm assuming that, then time of ascent comes out to be kh by m minus u by g, and it is kh by m. If I take that side, g will be here also, I think, right or not?
Yes, sir.
I think I have written wrong. It is minus and that is plus.
Minus, sir.
Means u by g minus of kh by mg is equal to time of ascent. We are getting time of ascent directly without having to do any complicated task. But provided, how can we get that? Only if they are giving two things at least: initial velocity
Air.
and
Yes,
maximum
sir.
height attained. If both are given, then we can get time of ascent. And notice trick here. What is normal rule? Normally, what we do? Normally, we take velocity terms this side because same term, same side, right? But sometimes we cannot do that. Sometimes we may not do that. So this is very tricky step here. And why? What was running in my mind when I used this step? It was running in my mind that if I give h, if displacement is already known to us, then v into dt is nothing but displacement. I can just replace v into dt by h without integrating. I'm not integrating because I don't know how v varies as a function of time. I don't know that. But I'm not even determining that. Without even determining, I'm directly getting answer. So it is very key step, very important. Some questions you can do very easily by this way. Don't think when they ask the question, they will be asking always in which we have to do the lot of integration. They can ask questions sometimes in which we may not even need much integration and we may get the answer. Okay. Time of ascent is done. Can we get the time of descent also for this now? Let us check once. H is height, mg downwards. What is it? Kv upwards. Now let us write the equation again. Acceleration downwards. For downward journey, I will make separate diagram in the next page for downward journey. For downward journey, what equations we can frame for the downward journey? Acceleration will be equal to, again, let us taking downward as positive. I'm taking separately downward as positive, just for easiness. It will make it easy. S is equal to G. What will be acceleration? I think G minus K by M into V. Is that right or not? Then what will be dV by dt? G minus K by M into V. What it will become now? dV will become G into dt integral minus K by M into V into dt integral. Limits. Tell me limits 0 to V. Highest point 0. U is 0. V is unknown. And 0 to time of descent. And here 0 to time of descent. What are we getting now? We are getting V equals G into TD minus K by M into, I think you know what this will give us.
So many are unmuting uselessly, sir.
So we get G into TD minus K by M into displacement H. Okay. Notice now, if I am assuming H to be given, can we, but here again, one more unknown is there. If I assume V not to be given, then this will not be much helpful for us. This equation is not much helpful because as we can see clearly, here there are more number of unknowns coming now. We can't use it. Can we? I think we cannot. If time of descent is asked and velocity is given, then we can find out the time of descent. What would be the time of descent if velocity is given? Then we can get that. But obviously they will not give all the things. One thing I can frame an equation. Let us frame another equation. This equation is correct. Don't worry, it is not wrong, but let us try to frame other equations. For the total displacement, what is the net displacement? 0. If I write minus kv into dt, that integral upon m, and the other is m into g minus mg into dt integral, what that will give us? That will give us change in velocity, v minus u. See here, I'm again giving you one interesting question which they ask sometimes. Sometimes they don't give us height also. What they say, they just give time of flight. Let time of flight be given. Time of flight be given to you. Time of flight be t. And what they want to find out, initial velocity is given u, and they will ask what is the final velocity. Find out final velocity v. How will they do again? See, we will do this way. We will write what we have to find final velocity. What is given? Remember what is given? Given capital T, time of flight. And also initial velocity is also given. U1, can you do this one yourself or not?
Sir,
Can you do this yourself? This question. It is also based on trick. What is the trick involved? What is the acceleration formula? Acceleration will be equal to, I think we can write as mg upon force. What is the force? First of all, force is equal to mg along minus j cap minus
yes,
kv.
mg minus kv.
That is the force. That is the force, right?
Yes, sir.
Then I can also write the force as so mass into acceleration is force. Then acceleration will be
Yes, sir.
g minus kv.
minus kv.
Okay. Then I can write it as dv by dt is equal to minus gj minus kv. But we get dv. Now, what is your normal normal
KV by
J?
M.
We can move normal s kv by m. Sorry, you are right. Actually, mistake here. Sorry. So I think normally what we will do. Normally we will take v downwards and we will start integrating, but not necessary. First, to think, can we do this question without having to bring it that side directly by multiplying dt? I think we can do. Why? Because in this entire journey, this is initial position, this is final position. What is the displacement in the entire journey? Even if they don't give us, we know it. We know it. We know when it went up and came back again, the total displacement is 0. Do we know displacement or not?
Yes, sir. Displacement 0.
That is the main idea now. What we will do, multiply by dt minus k by m into v into dt integral and 0 to time of ascent, 0 to time of time of flight, and initial velocity u to final velocity v. We get v minus u equals minus g into t minus k by m into displacement, which is 0. See how nicely it just becomes 0 only.
Yes, sir.
It becomes just 0 only, very
0, yes, sir.
wonderfully. And then we are getting t was given to us. What we wanted to find v. So v is nothing but u minus gt.
Yes, sir. Easily we are getting the equation.
Answer. But what they should give for that, in order to be able to answer this, they should give us the
But
time of
at the top, velocity becoming 0 now, sir.
at the top velocity becomes 0, right? So
Then U will be 0 now, sir.
again, who is saying that it is for? Wait a second, you are forgetting what is u. Where it is initial position, it is final position. Initial position means this is u, and this is final position, this is v. This is not. This is just a part in between the journey, in between somewhere, in the middle of the journey, not the starting, not the final.
Okay, sir.
Okay, means we can. This idea does not get to your mind, I think, till now. Also, when we write the vector equation, then we can write the vector equation for the total part of journey, including upward going part, including downward going part. We don't have to write in two separate parts. While I was writing in two separate parts here, purpose was different. Purpose was to tell you that if time of ascent is given, then how can we use that time of ascent? Or if time of ascent is required to be found and height is given, can we use it to get the height? Yes, we can get. So let me first make it clear what question we could have asked here. Let us say in this case, this is given, and h is given, and u is given, and m is given. This data is given. What we have to find time of ascent. So that was the question which I answered here. We got the time of ascent. Okay, let us see what we answered in second part for downward journey. For downward journey, I tried to answer something, but I found that even if I give you time of descent, we can't get v. Can we get v even if I give you time of descent?
No.
We can't get v, right? Because there are two unknowns. V is unknown and t is unknown. But then I told you that v is very easy to obtain. We can get v by this way. If the total time is given, they should give us total time. Okay, then we can get. Now listen here.
Is
What
it
we
not
could do here?
needed to break the intervals from u to 0 and then 0 to v?
What? That we do if I have to find out the distances. Who is finding distance here? Integral of v into dt is displacement. We have to do that thing only to find out the distance. There is no such thing here. I'm not talking about distance. We are talking about displacement. Okay. We need to break the interval only if the question is about distance. Why we need to break the interval for that? Give me the reason. I think you are forgetting the reason for that. Because mod v into dt we do there. Mod. So we can't take negative. Negative also we have to take as minus of whenever integration is involving mod, then we need to break it into intervals. Am I finding mod v dt or we are finding v dt here?
Okay,
Tell
sir.
me. Understood now? Please remember this idea that when it is about mod of v dt, then we should do that. Otherwise, don't need to worry. Displacement directly we can get. Vectors are very much advantageous if we use those properly. and we are comfortable using those. Those will really means shorten our time to do the question. We will not waste time unnecessarily in doing upward integration, downward integration, quickly answer see, in one step only almost. This is so nice way to do the question. Now, let us go backwards once. And what was the question in this case here? What was given to you here? Time of ascent was given. No, time of ascent was to be found. H was given, U was given, and M was given. I have found time of ascent, but I wanted to find out time of descent also, and I wanted to find out V also. But unfortunately, we are not able to get that till now. But I think this second question will give you hint how to do that. In second question, we can get the value of V by knowing the total time. In this, total time is also not given. But see here, once now in this question, what I can write it as G into T minus time of ascent minus K by M into H, right or not? Can we write this equation? K by M into H. We can write, I think. Next, what is the value of time of ascent? Time of ascent is already found here. U by G minus KH by mg, which I can put here. Will it be useful? Not much useful. Unless we write time also as V minus U by G. Please do one thing now. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do one thing.
Yes,
I
sir.
want to see in this place if I write it as V minus U by G, can we get it or not? V minus U by G is one equation here, and other one we are getting here. Time of ascent also we know. That also I can write here. So can we get V or not?
Yes, sir. We
Try once. I'm not sure. Sometimes, we commit mistake in such a way that we end up getting some equation like 2 equal to 2 or 1 equal to 1. Both sides, some things may get cancelled out. I'm not sure. Check it once. Are we getting on? I think that only will happen here. If I write it as V minus U by G, V will get cancelled out. V will not combine our equation. If I replace it by V minus U by G, then V will get cancelled out, right?
sir.
Yes. Yes. Say what?
If they given initial velocity and displacement, can we find the time of flight, sir?
If they give initial velocity and displacement, can we find out the time of flight or not? Time
Sir,
of
it's a
ascent we
how
are able to determine by giving initial velocity and displacement given, we are able to get the time of ascent. But you are asking not about time of ascent, you are asking total time of flight, right? Total time. See, one question is, can we determine or not? Obviously, we can determine. We have already done such question before, in which we did complete integration. But here we are trying to avoid the integration. Means integration we are doing, but it is simple integration. Means we are not doing that complicated integration in which we put it left hand side and then we integrate. If you go in that way, then we can get velocity at any time. So obviously we can get in that by that method, by that long lengthy method, we can definitely get. But question is, can we get by a simplified way? That is that I'm also thinking. Can we get it by a simplified way? What I want to obtain? I want to obtain total time of flight. What is given to me? U is given. In fact, you know what? Here also extra information is given to you. Do I need to give you height? No. Because once I give you U and once I give you K, then height will be decided on those factors U and K. I don't need to give you H. It is additional information being given to you. Okay. In fact, I need to give you only just U. That's it. And you should be able to determine the time of flight by your own. Also, K should be given to you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So we can obviously
One
determine
section,
that
how
is
you wrote acceleration, sir.
acceleration in which case, this one.
Time of flight, sir. No, sir, not this one, sir.
Huh.
Without splitting
Uh-huh.
cases, you wrote, sir, that one,
Last.
sir.
This
Yes, sir.
one, right?
Yes, sir.
This I wrote G is downwards always. So minus G J cap. Minus G J cap. Force, I am writing force. This is force, right? This is force or not? Gravitational force,
Yes,
drag
sir.
force. Adding those two forces, we get mass into acceleration.
Sir, but KV is not always in one direction, no, sir. That's why you wrote V bar, sir.
You got my point. That's why I wrote
Yes, sir.
it is changing the direction, but I
Yes.
don't care because finally V bar into dt is the total displacement. Whether it changes
Yeah.
direction or doesn't change, it will always be V bar into dt will be equal to displacement only. Okay,
Yes, sir.
it is V bar only. Understood?
Understood.
Right. Fine. So if final velocity is given and initial velocity is given, then time of flight is very simple to obtain. If time of flight is given, then final velocity is very simple to obtain. We can obtain it easily. Okay. By this information only. One more thing here, sorry, my mistakes. This I committed already here because this is a vector form of equation. So I should not write in such careless way. I should have written it as these are no problem. I can write it that way also. First, I thought it is wrong, but it is right only because this v is coming out to be negative. But from this place also, we will get it as negative only. There is no doubt about it. By this also, after solving, we will get it as negative. I'm sure about one thing, that this time of flight will definitely be greater than u by g. How do I know? Because if it is greater than u by g, then second term will be more than u. And if second term is more than u, then only velocity will be negative. Otherwise, it cannot be negative. So therefore, I know directly that time of flight in this case will definitely be greater than u by g. We are sure about it. Will it be less than 2u by g or not? I can say time of flight will be greater than, sorry, how to write it this way. U by g and time of flight will be less than 2u by g. Why so? Why less than 2u by g? If I write it as 2u by g, then what do I get velocity as, final velocity as? Then I get final velocity as minus u, right or not?
Yes, sir.
But if I'm getting final velocity as minus u, it means there is no loss of energy. Whatever kinetic energy we had, with which we had thrown, same kinetic energy we are obtaining. But we know it is not possible. I know velocity should be finally less than u, right? Final velocity should be less than u. It cannot be just equal to u only in magnitude. Therefore, the time of flight must be lying between u by g to 2u by g. Understood?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Understood.
Yes, sir.
So time of flight will lie in between these two, for which cases whenever there is a drag force. This here I forgot to mention in this. Here also drag force is there. This is given to us. Okay. This is it. Now it is really interesting that if somebody asks question of drag force in a very complicated looking scenario, for example, this scenario, that a body is thrown upwards with velocity u, and it finally goes up and then it falls on the strikes the top of the tower, and the tower is of height h. Tower is of height h, maybe that kind of information is given, and they are saying drag force is equal to minus kv. And don't worry, you may still attempt it. Maybe you don't have to write any difficult equations. For example, I will write again as minus g minus kv, and I will get dv is equal to minus g into dt minus kv into dt integral. Then this u initial velocity is given to us as u, final velocity v. Then v minus u will be equal to minus g into time of flight and minus k into v dt. V dt will be h. 0 to t, it will be h. Okay. So if this site is given and they are asking us, and time of flight is also given, let us say then we can determine with what velocity it strikes here. Okay, we can determine that easily in terms of this information. With what velocity it will strike? It will strike with velocity u minus gt
minus kh.
minus kh. That will be there. One more thing, answer is not necessarily in this term. Answer may be in other terms also. Why? Because these variables are also related to each other. H is also related to time of flight. Even if somebody is not giving us H, but they are giving time of flight, we should be able to determine H also ourselves by the data given. Okay. But this equation is right equation only. Anyway, this equation is right. And as far as what will be the value of V will be negative. I'm sure about it because it is on the return journey downwards. So V will be negative. And I am also sure that V will be less than magnitude of U. Okay. And V will be less than, V will be negative. It will be along minus j cap. V will be along minus j cap. By this piece of information, some other objective questions can be answered. Okay. They may give us option that what would be the magnitude of V, or they may give us option what could be the time of flight. So we can get idea what could be the time of flight by knowing this piece of information here. And I may ask the question of collision in drag. Normally they don't ask for question of collisions in case of when drag forces are involved, but I may ask this also. Let us say it is given with velocity u1, and from above we are throwing some particle with velocity u, and they are striking somewhere in between, and this total height is, let us say, h. What will be the equation for this case? And drag forces are given for both. Then what equation will prefer? Again, for the, I can write the same type of equation only. For one equation will be minus g into, as we are getting always, this is dv will be equal to minus g into dt minus k into v into dt. But we have to be careful about velocities. Here it will be minus u for one first case. Case 1, case 2 separate. Minus u into some maybe where velocity is v.
What we need
And
to
this
find?
is, no, nothing. I'm telling you how to write the correct equations. How to write the correct
Will
equations.
they give
Okay.
at what height will collide, sir?
We can see this also, at what height maybe they will collide. The total height may be given. We may find out what fraction of height they will collide. There was one question there like this only before we have done, but that we have done for which scenario, when the drag force was absent. Now we are trying to do it if the drag force is present, and we will see whether the equations formed are simple or not. If not simple, then not worry. Then our normal lengthy method is already there. What is that method? I told you, take v terms same side, then find v as a function of
sir.
time. After finding v as a function of time, then again ds by dt. But that is very lengthy method. So in some places we can avoid it, but not always. Always we cannot avoid that. Sometimes that is necessary. Let us say there are 4 options given. In all the options, you are noticing that they are giving velocity as a function of time. Then by this shortcut method, do you think we will get velocity as a function of time? No, no possibility. Then we have to go by that, prove that only. Then only we can get velocity as a function of time, right? Let us say 0 to t time, 0 to t time. So it is v strikes with v velocity, and let us say v is it is v1. Let us call it v1 downwards minus v1 minus of minus u plus u is equal to minus g into t minus k into, it is falling through height h1, then it will be minus h1 displacement. Then it is becoming k into h1 minus gt is equal to u minus v1. One equation. I'm just forming the equation. What equations do we have here? Let us check once. This is going up to h2 height. Then I can write it as, and let us say its velocity here becomes v2. Then I can write equation u2 v2 dv is equal to minus g into dt integral is equal to minus k into v dt integral 0 to t k by m. It is actually, sorry, k by m. Then we get minus g into t minus k by m into h2, and that is equal to v2 minus u. Then we get v2 equals, what is v2 equal to? U minus gt minus k into h2 by m. And what was v1 equal to? v1 was equal to u minus k h1 by m plus gt. I think it is understandable why it is coming here plus gt and why it is coming here minus gt, because the body which is going upwards, g is trying to reduce its speed, but the body which is coming downwards, g is trying to increase its speed. But why kh is always negative? Because it is trying to reduce the speed in both cases. In both cases, kh is trying to reduce the speed, right or not? So it is negative only then.
Yes, sir.
Now this is v1, this is v2. Means I'm not saying that we are getting anything, as my purpose was also not to obtain anything. My purpose was to write valid equations. What valid equations we can have of this kind of equations, this special kind. These are the valid equations, and these are the valid relations between v1 and v2. If they collide at some point, h2 will be given as h minus h1. Total height is, let us say, given as h. I can replace this h2 by h minus h1. Okay, but here there are more number of unknowns, because how many unknowns are there? v1 is unknown, v2 is unknown, h1 is unknown, t is unknown. Obviously there are large number of unknowns, and we cannot just use these equations to get the answer. But these equations we can use only to maybe get ratio. If something is mentioned, then just to get the ratio, etc., we can get. For example, if let us try to make a question out of it, not just equations, I want a question also. So one question could be, maybe it is given to you that they collide in such a way so that the speed of upper one is the way they had mentioned that time. Speed of upper one is 2 times the speed of the lower one. If I give you this, v1 is equal to 2 times v2, can be, or maybe the speed of lower one is 2 times the upper one, something like that. I may need to give you, or maybe they will give, then they collide in midair, then their speeds are found to be equal. Can they be equal or not? Let us check once. U plus gt, u minus gt minus this. Okay, just leave it. You know how to write the equations. That is enough. Okay. Juggler based questions are also there. What does the juggler do? You know that juggler will be simply throwing one ball up, and then from both hands he keeps throwing, and he throws the balls in equal intervals of time. So sometimes they say that a juggler is juggling the balls. So while the first ball reaches the highest point, at that time he throws the fourth ball up. Okay, something like that. While one ball reaches the highest point, at that time he throws the fourth ball. Then you can have to find out what is the distance between the first and the second ball, or second and the third ball. Can you do such questions? Have you seen any such question or not?
Explain, sir, once.
If not taken, then let me take it. If you have not taken such question, you have not seen such question, then let me explain. Juggler, what he does, he will be throwing. There will be multiple balls, like maybe 4 or 5 balls at a time in his hands. There will be just one ball only he will be touching, and remaining will be all in air only. So let us say he has thrown one ball here up, right? Then he throws the second ball and the third ball, and the fourth ball is coming down. Fifth is coming down. This one reaches in his hands. As soon as it reaches in his hands, what he will do? He will take that ball and give it to this hand and then throw it up again. He keeps on doing like that only. This is left hand. This is right hand. As soon as he gets the ball in right hand, he will bring it to this hand and this hand ball it will throw upwards. That is what juggler does. Now question of which can be asked based on juggler. Many questions can be asked although, but let me take one typical question. Typical question is this: what is the distance between? Let us number the balls. Ball number. Maybe this reaches the hand. It is, let us say, ball number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. He is juggling with 6 balls. With how many balls he is juggling? 6 balls. And we are assuming that the time interval between throwing of any 2 balls is same. Okay. And let us say they are saying that this ball which he throws up, it comes back to his hand in 2 seconds. In what time this ball comes back to his hands? In 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Okay.
Time of flight
So
is
when
2
this time of flight is given 2 seconds, for every ball it will be same only. There are 2 times here. One time is time of flight. One time is time of flight. And the other time is, let us call that time as T naught. That is T by 6. What is that T naught meaning? That is time between the projection of 2 balls.
2 seconds is time of flight, sir.
Because there are 6 balls in total. 2 seconds, let us say, it depends on the question. I can frame, okay, let me frame a question. Let the time of flight be, let T be given as 2 seconds. And how many balls are given? Number of balls are given as, in this case, as the diagram shows, 6 balls are given. Okay. Left hand, right hand. In right hand, when the one ball strikes, he will quickly give it to the second hand and then throw it up. When will he throw up? When he throws up, and after that, the second ball reaches down on his hand, right? Same way it keeps on happening. Now, point is, if we started throwing the first ball up, and then second and the third, and then the fourth, and then fifth, and then sixth, when the first ball again reaches back in his hand, at that time, what will be the gap between second and the third ball? What will be the gap between third and the fourth ball? And the fourth and the fifth ball, and the fifth and the sixth ball? This is the question. You have to find all these gaps. Find out all these gaps. Find distance between distances between balls. Let me tell you how to do such questions. A very easy way to do, very easy way. For how long first ball was in air? It was in air for, it is given time of flight 2 seconds. So first ball was in air for 2 seconds. For how long second ball was in air? Guess it now, what it will be. 2 minus 2 by 6. You understand why 2 by 6?
Yes,
Because
sir.
time between 2 projects of 2 balls is 2 by 6. For how long the third ball was in air? It will be 2 minus 2 into 2 by 6 will be 4 by 6.
4 by 6.
Okay. It will be 2 minus 2 into what is it? 2 into 3 by 6. So that will be 6 by 6. That is 2 minus 1. Okay. And what about the sixth ball? Fifth ball is 2 minus what I should write? 1 by 2 by 6, then 4 by 6, then 6 by 6, then 8 by 6. 2 minus 8 by 6. And then this is in air for, let us say, T5. This is equal to T4. T6 is equal to 2 minus 10 by 6, which is also equal to 2 by 6. Once we know all these times, then you can easily find out their displacements. What is the displacement of the first one? That is 0 only because it has come back onto the hand. What is the displacement of second one? Use ut minus half gt square formula for second. What is the initial velocity? Initial velocity for all of this will be same. How to find initial velocity? We can find easily by knowing that total time of flight is 2u by g. That is time of flight, which is equal, then u will be equal to g into t by 2, which is equal to 10 into 2 by 2. What is u? 10 meter per second, right or not?
Yes, sir.
U is 10 meter per second. So then I will write S2. S2 will be equal to 10 into time T2. T2 time is 2 minus 2 by 6 means 2 minus 1 by 3, which will become, I think, 5 by 3, I think.
Yes, sir.
Minus half into 10 into 5 by 3 square, I think. What is it then? 50 divided by 3 minus, I can write it as 5 5s are 25 into 5. 125 divided by 9. That is 150 minus 125. 25 divided by 9. That is S2. What is S3? S3 will be U into T3. T3 is third wall. 2 minus 4 by 6. That will be equal to 2 minus 2 by 3. How much it will be? 2 minus 2 by 3 is equal to
4 by 3.
3 to the 6 minus 2, 4 by 3. So 10 into 4 by 3 minus 1 by 2 into 10 into 4 by 3 squared. 40 by 3 minus 5 into 16, 80 by 9, which will be equal to 40 divided by 9. Getting S3. So what will be the distance? What is the distance between S2 and S3? We can get the distance between S2 and S3 very easily. Can we get it?
S3 minus S2, no, sir.
Yes, S3 minus S2 minus S3, in fact. Why? I know S2 is at a larger height, no? S2 is at a larger height as compared to S1. So S2 minus S1, S2 minus S3 I can take. No, sorry, S3 minus S2, I think. Wait a second, confused.
Yes, sir. S3 minus
Which is at S3 is larger. S3 is larger, sorry. S3 minus S2 then. S3 minus S2, then we are getting answer as S3 minus S2 equals 40 by 9 minus 25 by 9 equals 15 by 9.
5 by 3.
That is equal to 5 by 3. That's the gap. So this is just one example. Similarly, we can find out the gap between others. And the question can be asked in a different way. Don't think that this is a question and it is a standard question. They can ask in this way also. By the time the first ball reaches the highest point, at that time, what is the gap between the second and the third ball? Understand? First is only reaching the highest point. Then second and third will be this side only. They will not even go to the other side by the time. So question can be asked in different ways. And accordingly, you have to use your some idea how to do. Equations will be same only always. These simple equations, S is equal to ut plus half a t square. What is the best way to do always? Just keep finding the times for which the ball remains in air. That is always the best way to do. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. Then think of some other problems.
What kind of questions they ask, like drops from tap?
Drop some tap. That is easiest one. That will be like this only. That if a drop is falling, then when first drop is here, at that time second drop will be in which place, third will be in which place. Those are simple, no? Because we know all this will be having
Yes,
half
sir.
GT square relation.
Yes.
These questions are much simpler to answer. Okay.
Initial velocity 0,
Then we
sir.
can simply say this, yes, initially whenever dropping, dropped, then initial velocity has to be taken 0, obviously. 0 only. Okay. If dropped from lift, then initial velocity will not be 0. Otherwise, it will be 0 only. Okay. Please mute yourself. Right. Now, let us frame some other question.
Sir, is there any easy way to solve air balloon problem, sir?
Hmm?
Is there any easy way to solve air balloon problem, sir?
Easy way to solve which one? I'm not able to listen. Which?
Air balloon problem, sir.
Air balloon problems. Air balloon problems means rising balloon, right? Easy way means these are all easy question only. If you are using ut plus half weight square and you have to use always a single equation only, why will this be tough? This will become tough only if you commit a mistake. Don't commit mistake. Use simple equations. It will be always be easy. Air balloon problem. Just remember one thing only. When the ball is dropped, then the ball which is dropped does not have zero velocity. What velocity it has? It has same velocity as the velocity of balloon. But what acceleration it has? Acceleration is just acceleration due to gravity downwards. Velocity is that of balloon and acceleration is acceleration due to gravity downwards just after releasing. Just keep this idea in mind. If you keep this idea in mind, you will never ever commit mistake in air balloon problems. Never ever. Okay. It will be based on simple these equations only. You ask me some question if you are having doubt, you are not able to solve, you ask me, I will do that maybe. But method will be this only. It will not be like some shortcut trick or something, nothing like that. Okay.
Sir, a person in the air balloon feels that the ball is coming down or going up, sir, at the immediate interval.
With this, what are you asking? Say it again.
At the immediate interval of the ball thrown out, it will come out or
Wait,
it will.
wait second. Say it now. It will immediately.
When the ball is immediately thrown out of the air
Not
balloon.
thrown. Not please. First of all, I think you are still in confusion. I am saying don't use word thrown. Thrown is very different from dropping. Dropping is equal to releasing, but is not equal to throwing. You wanted that it is dropped, but you are saying that it is thrown. Thrown is different. Thrown means I can give some speed, initial speed. Then its velocity will not be same as that of balloon. Don't first you decide properly, thrown or dropped. Because both are not same thing. Both are different.
Dropped, sir.
Now you say if it is dropped, then what question?
When the ball is dropped from the balloon at the immediate interval, the person in the balloon feels that the ball is coming down or going up, sir.
He will feel the person who is in the balloon. He will feel the ball to be going down only, obviously. With respect to him, ball will be going down only.
Sir, please share the screen, sir.
I'm sharing only.
With respect to a person on the ground, sir.
With respect to person or on the
Ground.
ground.
Rises.
With respect to the person on the ground, it will be rising up for a moment.
Okay,
It will
sir.
rise up for a moment. For the person on the ground, if the balloon is rising up, if the balloon was also coming down, then obviously with respect to that person also it will be coming down. But if the balloon was rising up and at the moment of dropping, then with respect to person on the ground, the ball will appear to be rising up.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Right.
Okay, sir.
పొద్దున అదే క్వశ్చన్ చేశాను.
తప్పు చేసిందా?
అంటే నేను ఫస్ట్ అనుకున్న ఆన్సర్ నాకు సి వచ్చింది, కాకపోతే ఆన్సర్ డి ఇచ్చారు. ఇంకా మామూలుగా గుర్తు పెట్టుకున్నా విసిరేసినప్పుడు.
Let me clarify again. Just I will ask one or two questions. I think you will be able, if you are able to answer these, then you can answer those questions of balloon. If I say a balloon is rising up, balloon is rising up from ground with uniform acceleration of 2 meter per second square. With what acceleration? 2 meter per second square. A ball is dropped or released. Case 1, I will take several cases. Case 1, A ball is released from balloon after 5 seconds. Case 2. A ball is thrown vertically upwards from balloon after 5 seconds. Number 3.
Artificial velocity of balloon, sir.
With 10 meter per second. And meters per second velocity. Or a ball is rising up from ground from rest. Initially, balloon is at rest. Starts rising. I think I should say maybe starts rising up from ground with uniform acceleration of 2 meter per second square, and initial velocity 0 meter per second. Ball is thrown vertically downwards with 10 meter per second. These are the 3 cases. But I have to ask you, what will be the time with which the ball will strike the ground? Strikes the ground. Just find out the time at which the ball strikes the ground. So don't answer this question directly, which will take time, and if you commit mistake and already in the beginning only, in the first step only, then what is the point of doing all the steps? So first we have to check first step. What is your first step? First step will be, what should you take the initial velocity of the ball after it is projected? That is our first question. This is first question. First you answer this. First, initial velocity and acceleration of ball just after dropping oblique releasing, same thing, or throwing. What's initial velocity and acceleration of the ball just after dropping or releasing or throwing? That is our first question. First, don't try to find out this time. First you answer this only. If you are able to answer this one right, then you will get answer right only. So how many things you have to answer here? U1, U2, U3, A1, A2, A3. According to 3 cases. What are the 3 cases? Here mentioned already. Balloon is released after 5 seconds. Sorry, ball is released after 5 seconds. Ball is thrown vertically down. Ball is thrown vertically up. After 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. What is the time of journey of the balloon? 5 seconds. In 5 seconds, what height balloon will cover? First, answer that. What height balloon will cover in 5 seconds? What will be the height of balloon in 5 seconds? First, you answer this one.
$25 meters, no, sir.
So 25 meters you are getting. Let us check once. S is equal to half AT square. I can write for balloon. For balloon, I want to find out the height attained. height attained in 5 seconds will be obtained by half into 2 into 5 square, which is, I think, 25 meters, as you said. This is the height attained. And what is the final velocity? 0 plus 2 into 5, 10 meter per second along direction. Velocity vector will be 10 j cap, right? Have you understood these 2 points of
Yes, sir.
balloon? After that, this is our journey before the dropping. Now from here, main students start committing mistake after this. Therefore, I want you to answer these questions. Try to answer yourself. E1, U2, U3, A1, A2, A3. What will be the expression? Find U1, U2, U3, A1, A2, A3. Just of ball just after 5 seconds. I hope you understand what I mean by just after 5 seconds. Means just after it is. This question here already asked. I think no need to repeat again. Already I have asked here this one. What will be the initial velocity of the and the acceleration of the ball just after dropping or releasing or throwing? Can you find it out?
Velocity 10 meter per second, sir.
One boy, first of all, I want to discuss with that boy who was asking this question. Naidu, are you there? Naidu, Sai Naidu.
Yes, sir.
Just you tell me once, Sai Naidu, that wait, sorry. You just answer this. What assume upward direction positive, downward direction negative. I am giving already. Assume upward direction positive and downward direction negative, and then try to answer what will be the accelerations just after dropping in first case and in second and in third. Sign I do.
Yes, sir.
Don't worry. What is your feeling? What should be the acceleration? If it is wrong, no problem. But at least tell something.
Acceleration will be equal to minus g.
Very good idea. Very nice. You are perfect. Only why are you worried then? You're right. Acceleration will be in all these 3 cases. It will be equal to minus g. 100% right. Because the only force which is acting on those is mg downwards. If it is mg downwards force, then force upon mass will be the acceleration. That will be g downwards only. So it is 100% right. Acceleration is equal to minus g. What about initial velocities?
Will be
That is slightly complicated. So you should be very much rest assured that at least one thing is so simple. Acceleration, we don't even have to think. We can quickly say minus g. Initial velocity, I told you, it will be in case of dropping. In means which is dropping case, first one, released or dropped, same thing. Then its velocity will be same as the velocity of the balloon after 5 seconds.
Yes, sir.
What
No,
was
sir.
that velocity? We already found it before, 10 j cap. 10 j cap, right?
Yes, sir.
So this will be u1. What will be u1 then? u1 will be equal to 10 j cap only. Can you tell me what will be u2? This is tough slightly. Maybe you may commit mistake here, but if you are careful, then you will not commit mistake here also. What is u2? Now you think here, initial velocity of where was it? Ball is thrown vertically upwards with 10 meter per second. I'm throwing upwards, but I'm not throwing from the ground frame. From which frame I'm throwing? I'm throwing from the balloon frame. Right or not? I'm throwing from the balloon frame. It means what is given to me is not u2. Somebody may commit mistake if we say u2 is equal to 10 j cap. No. You may ask, you may say, sir, they are giving it as 10, but they are not giving in ground frame. They are giving u2 with respect to balloon. Understand the difference? They are giving u2 balloon. U2 balloon. What is the formula of relative motion? Velocity of A with respect to B.
VA minus VB.
Yes, exactly right. Initial velocity of ball 2 with respect to balloon wall to with respect to balloon is U2B, that will
$600.
be equal to U2 minus UB, and that value is already given to us as 10 J cap. It is given. It is already given because it is thrown with 10 upwards. But what is U2 then? Then U2 will be equal to UB, take other side, plus 10 J cap. What was UB? Velocity of balloon at that time? At that time, velocity of balloon is 10 J cap already after 5 seconds. 10 plus 10, then it is how much? 20 J cap. This is initial velocity. Now, please stop here and try to understand it properly. Every sentence of this. If you are understanding these 4 or 5 lines here, you will understand this concept properly. Sainadu, any question, any difficulty in understanding this? Then you ask me now only.
No difficulties.
Are you understanding this part?
Yes, sir.
Very good, very nice. Then if you have really understood, then I can check it whether you have understood or not by asking you have to answer by the third question. You have to answer yourself only. I will not help you in that. If
0.
you are able to answer that, is it 0 really? How? Think about it again. 3 with respect to balloon will be equal to U3 minus UB. What is that given as? 10 downwards. What do you mean by 10 downwards? 10 downwards means minus 10 J cap. Then what will be U3? U3 will be equal to UB minus 10 J cap. What is UB? That was 10 J cap. 10 J cap minus 10 J cap. You are absolutely right. It is coming out to be 0. So see, this is now really wonderful. We can trust these equations. These equations are right only. So although you may think that it is very strange, he is throwing it with 10 speed downwards, but it appears as if he's just releasing it because initial velocity is 0. Understand? With respect to him, it is not 0. It is 0 in the ground frame. In the ground frame, it is 0. But with respect to him, it is not 0. With respect to him, it is thrown downwards with 10 meter per second speed. Okay. Relative to him, it is 10 downwards, but in ground frame, it is coming out to be 0. Are you okay with this? Have you understood the equations?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then I think now at least one thing is sure. If you are understanding the equations, even though you may not be able to understand this situation physically properly, you may think something strange is happening, but answers you will still get. If you follow the right method, you will still get the right answers. Even though it may really take some more time to be able to really digest this fact that why it is happening, why these strange equations are appearing. So for that, you may, after I think over time, you will understand when you will do more number of questions, then these things will appear easy to you. You will start understanding these. Right now, even if it is not appearing easy, even if it is there is a friction in your thought that why is it so, we are not understanding why is it becoming like that. No problem. Even if you not understand it that much properly, but if you are using the right equations, you will get the right answers. Now, once you know U3, what is our time taken? I am asking you time taken. So I will write equation S1 is equal to U1t plus half of A1t square. A1 is always fixed. That is equal to A1 is equal to minus G. Let us take minus G as minus 10. So it is becoming minus 5 into T1 square. U1 was, I think, I forgot what was U1. U1 was 10. So 10 into T1. S1 was already known to us. What is S1? Tell me. Again, you may commit mistake in S1 also if you don't do it properly. But S1 I should take. What is the displacement of the first particle after it is released from the balloon? Up to what it will displace? You already know what height balloon has risen. Do you?
25, no, sir.
What is the height of the balloon at the time of throwing?
25, sir.
Then you should tell me quickly that it will be coming down by 25. What is difficulty? We are releasing it and finally it will fall on the ground only or not?
Minus 25.
So minus 25, yes, minus, that is the only point to be remembered here, not plus 25, it is minus 25 because initial position up, final position
Yes,
below
sir, it's
that,
minus
downward
20,
journey,
minus 25,
minus
sir.
25. So minus 25 is equal to this. Can we get the answer? For any quadratic equation, we have a direct formula, we can always get the answer. Whether we have integral roots or not, doesn't matter, answer we will get or not. So I am just leaving it here, you will get the answer. Okay.
3 seconds, sir.
What is it coming out to be?
3 seconds.
3 seconds. Right, really? 5 square 30, 30 plus 25. Not that,
Minus 2 seconds.
not getting 3 seconds. 2 seconds you are saying? 10 to the 20, 20 plus 5. Not that. Why are you giving me some wrong answers? It is straightforward now. Divide by 5 everything first of all. We are getting t1 square minus 2t1 and minus 5 is equal to 0. So t1 is equal to 2 plus minus under root b square minus 4ac.
Four plus 20.
Right or not? Is it that? 1 plus 2 root 6. Say something, right or not?
Sir, 1 plus root 6. Sir.
1 plus root 6 only. Okay, 2 is in denominator also, right?
Yes, sir. 1
Yes,
plus root
sir.
6.
1 plus root 6, 2 is in
Understood, sir.
denominator. So getting answer 1 plus root 6. Similarly, what for the second case? Just tell me now what are the values for the second case? S2 is equal to U2 into T2 plus half of A2 into T2 square. What will be for this case? Minus 25 again. What is
20
U2?
into 2.
U2 was 20. 20 into T2
Yes, sir.
minus 5
Minus
into
5
T square.
T2 square.
Then we get T2 square again.
T2 square.
Minus, this time we are getting
4T2 plus minus 5.
5. Minus 5.
Minus 5, sir.
Minus 5 is equal to 0. So T2 is equal to, I think this time we are
Five
getting integral roots. Integral roots now. 5 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Or minus 1. Minus 1 obviously doesn't make sense. So we have to take 5 seconds. This we can neglect. Similarly for S3. S3 is equal to 0 into T3
Minus half GD square, sir.
minus 5 into T3 square.
Root 5.
So T3 is equal to root 5 seconds. Getting answer now? 5 second, root 5 second and 1 plus root 6 second. I hope you will be able to do such questions. See, there is no limit of difficulty. If you want to make difficult and difficult questions, we can keep asking very strange, like maybe multiple balloons, one balloon rising up, another is heavy, it is falling down, acceleration given. So from here it is dropped and it is reaching the other balloon. We can create many situations, but always trust these equations. S is equal to ut plus half it square, etc. And trust those fundamental principles that with respect to the balloon, when we are throwing, then we should start in this way. For example, particle 1 is thrown with respect to balloon. Start with this U1B. Assume that quantity to be given. Don't assume U1 to be given. Assume U1B to be given. Okay. Right. So I think this is enough. Any doubt you want to ask, that you ask? You want to ask any doubt? You can send in WhatsApp if it is there. No doubts?
No doubt, sir.
Fine then. Okay, then we can end it now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay then. Bye everyone.
Bye, sir.
Bye.